We are in the midst of biostimulants. Now, the main objective with biostimulation, as opposed to fertilization, is that we are going to place nutrients in the soil. We're going to place elements in the soil. As we've talked about in our previous topsoil session, there are 19 essential elements that are necessary for a tree to form all of the nutrition that it needs. And what's taking place now is we're mixing these elements in the tank, and we want to facilitate the transfer or the movement of these elements from the soil into the tree. Now, right now we're just placing them in the soil, but it's important that you understand that the places where we're putting these nutrients have been specially prepared so that there is a balance of air and water, so that that transaction, that array of natural processes that we've referred to, can begin to take place, which is an active breakdown between soil microbes and the living organisms in the soil that break these elements down and make them available for the tree to absorb. Very similar to what a human does when we eat our food. It has to be digested and then passed through your body, and that's an inside out. Trees are very similar, except they're outside in. We're going to put the elements outside in the specially prepared soil, the topsoil skirts, and there's going to be a breakdown take place with the very specially applied microbes and the amendments that we're about to put in there right now that will move them from the soil into the tree. And there is the secret of cheap to keep. And if you will master this secret, then all of the landscapes that you manage will become cheap to keep, and your reputation will precede you, and you will have more jobs than you can do. All right, in this customer's designed ecosystem, they have paid for a 200-gallon tank of biostimulant that is going to be applied foliar. We're going to do a root injection with a probe that we'll demonstrate for you, and that's about 350 pounds of pressure that we use to do that. And lastly, we're going to drench some of the prepared critical root zones of the trees that we have aerated, decompacted, have topsoil formation underway, and we have located positively where the absorbing roots are, so we know exactly where to apply this and focus these resources. Altogether, the biostimulants, which we will detail for you in a minute, to be applied, cost about $750, and it is designed to enhance root growth, to protect the trees from extreme weather conditions, which we know are going to come this summer, and also to give them a quick early burst of energy so that their leaves can be big and full, and they're capable of producing the maximum amount of energy they need for growth and maintenance. One of the additional benefits that we're looking for in this designed ecosystem is that since it is a newly constructed house, it's been finished about a year and a half, we've been involved in the tree preservation and the tree protection plan from the very beginning. And one of the benefits that we seek to gain from applying these biostimulants is to compensate for a loss of some of the critical root zones when the house was placed, when there was equipment running around it, and when there were certain footers that were dug for the deck and the side drainage areas. These were unavoidable encroachments on the established critical root zones of these trees, and by coming back with biostimulants, we are supplementing what they would normally get from an extended critical root zone. But since they have been interrupted and encroached on by human influence, we are going to put that back, and this is the way that you do it. and you can assure that the designed ecosystem that these people have specified will become cheap to keep as they developed these additional resources for the trees to feed upon.
All right, we are about to apply a liquid biostimulant. There are some of the amendments that we get in a liquid form that are more effective and easier to apply as a liquid, and to do that we need a 200-gallon poly tank. This was purchased by us probably 8 or 9, 10 years ago. No, even longer than that, 15 years ago. It'll cost you anywhere from $2,600 to $3,500 depending on where you buy it. It has a 5 horsepower Honda gas motor on it, and it pumps at about 5.5 to 8.5 gallons per minute, and provides more than enough pressure for us to do spray jobs in the top of tall trees and many other things. And so this is skid mounted, which means that we can slide it in the back of this truck, or we can mount it on a trailer, which is tow behind. We have striven from the beginning to make all of our equipment useful in as many different ways as we can, because we are called upon to work in all kinds of different environments with different numbers of personnel under different weather conditions. And just like the designed ecosystems that you're working in, they're constantly changing. Also, our techniques, procedures, and personnel are constantly changing, and this tank is plenty simple to operate. We've repaired it several times over the 15-year period that it's been used, replacing diaphragms. We cracked a pump casing at one time, but all of that is minor compared to the benefits that you can provide.
This biostimulant mixture has a number of components to it, and we're going to be mixing them up for you right now in a minute. But before he does that, let me point out exactly what they are and what they're doing in this mixture. What I have here is a tank buffer. This is a formulation that's imported, and what it does is open the pH window from 2 to 10, which means that the nutrient absorption is greatly enhanced when we use this, and it's absolutely necessary because most of the city water that's being pumped in these tanks has an alkalinity of 10 or even 11, and that's enough to make most of the nutrients mixed in it unavailable unless you buffer it. This is what you use. It's our most expensive, and it's 17.5 pounds. This is humates, which is derived from ancient sources dug from the ground as nutrients have leached into the ground through them over millions of years. This is sea kelp, which is, of course, from the trees in the ocean called kelp, and they're ground up and extracted amino acids, growth hormones, and growth regulators. This is a root stimulant. This is a foliar stimulant. These are the soil microbes that enable the transfer of those nutrients from the soil into the tree, and they're alive: protozoa, algae, fungi, and mycorrhiza included, several varieties. And then we have what we have here is a special amplifier that is a hydrolyzed feather extract, and it allows us to multiply the effect of these ingredients without having to use more.